Hello, everyone. I am Angelique Jackson, Senior Entertainment Writer at Variety, and I am thrilled to present this panel celebrating impactful women on screen. And joining me are the stars of Sony Pictures Television, starting with Outlander star Caitriona Balfe. From The Good Doctor, we have Christina Chang.
Hello.
From The After Party, we have Tiffany Haddish.
Hey, yeah.
From Wheel of Time, we have Rosamund Pike. From Better Call Saul, we have Rhea Seehorn.
Hi.
From the Goldbergs, we have Wendi McLendon-Covey.
Hey, Schmoopies.
And last but certainly not least, representing live in front of a studio audience, we have Dowd. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Lovely to be here.
Thank you all so much for kind of all convening together, because something that is so cool about all of the different productions that you guys are a part of is the fact that they are, led and kind of framed and showing women in all of their different variations of funny and dramatic and messy and complicated and just really the range of who we are. And I'm kind of curious from each of you, what are you most proud of about this character? As an actor, what is something about this character or this experience that has stood out from anything that you've gotten a chance to do before? Caitriona, I'm going to start with you.
God, I don't know. I think I'd never played anyone this long before. So I think having had the opportunity to live with a character for this long and to be able to take her in all these different directions, she's been so-called strong, she's fallen apart, we've been able to deconstruct her, we've been able to build her back up again. She has aged, almost 30 years in the time I've been playing her. So that's just been, I think, the amazing gift that this character has given me is just the kind of breadth and the variety of what I've been able to play with her.
Tiffany, I'm going to go over to you with Detective Danner. What was it about her that stood out from, anything else you've done?
Well, I just loved the way that here's my thing. If I ever had to be investigated, I would want to be investigated by Detective Danner. I would want that type of detective to be questioning me, probing me for information. I would probably divulge it all. I'm really easy like that anyways. But that kindness, yet harshness, yet, welcomingness, I love it. I love that about her.
Absolutely. When you have to, find things out from people, you've got to find different ways to play them to figure out the truth.
Yeah.
Christina, what about for you with Dr. Lim?
Well, like Caitriona, this is also the longest I've ever played the same person. So it is nice to be able to spend some time with her and figure out some of her isms. I'd say I'm pretty honored to be able to play a female surgeon who's a chief surgeon as well, since obviously in life, such a small percentage of women globally and in North America are in that position. So it's great to be able to represent.
And Ray, also you've been playing Kim for quite a bit of time, and you've actually, you're one of the folks on this panel who's kind of had a chance to play and say goodbye to this person. And what is it that you're most proud of going through that arc with her?
Lots. If I didn't have the incredible fortune to get to play Kim Wexler, I'd still be thrilled this character exists on television. It's just one thing that Peter Gould said early on in panels when they were asked, like, "Oh, did you set out to make such a feminist character?" And he said, "No, he said, I just grew up with these female characters like Barbara Stanwyck and stuff in my favorite movies." And he said, and they just had their own agency. They kept the company of the men they had because they wanted to, not ever because they had to, and not being ancillary to a male story and making the choices that are, coming from her has been an incredible journey to go on. It should not be rare on television. All the women on here get to do it, but it should be a little more common.
Oh, we want to have 10 panels of these options, not, you know, one group of 7. Rosamund, for you, what is something aside from, you know, shooting fireballs? What is something that stands out about this character?
Well, the Wheel of Time, as you know, it was groundbreaking in the genre of fantasy because you know, traditionally fantasy found an audience with men and centered on male characters. And then Robert Jordan in the 90s wrote this series, The Wheel of Time, and put powerful women at the center of his world. He'd been a helicopter pilot gunner in Vietnam. And I think he wrote The Wheel of Time first as a kind of therapeutic exercise to kind of deal with all the trauma that he'd seen. And he created this world where there are 2 halves of a power, where where we meet the characters, the women still have the ability to use the power, and the male half of it has been corrupted. It's as though men have kind of exceeded the kind of ethics of what they were given, and their half is now corrupted and too dangerous to use. And I feel it's all kind of linked to what he experienced. I don't know that because he's not allowed to tell me, but that's what I sense reading the books. And I think, you know, fantasy has never been a genre that's lured me or particularly interested me. And then I discovered The Wheel of Time, and it's completely fascinating. And I realized that, you know, there's this amazing opportunity to explore interpersonal relationships deeply and more interestingly because of the stakes of outside of our world. So for instance, I create this with Maureen Sadai. She's this character who has a warder, which is an incredibly close relationship with a man, but it's not sexual. It's a deep bond of loyalty, trust, and they actually feel on a cellular level what one another feels. So it's a super interesting thing to explore. So if he feels hunger or shame, or I feel it too, and vice versa. And it's just, I mean, it's the most interesting male-female relationship I've ever put on screen. So there's a lot I could carry on. But
girl, that sounds like my real life.
Wendi, let me ask you, I mean, this has been, you guys are heading into season 10. Is it right that this is going to be the longest running live action network comedy? Oh, it's the longest running currently on the air.
I think so, yeah. And look, I am not a mother in real life. I am grateful for this job that has made me seem like I have any maternal instincts whatsoever, because I don't. And playing this for as many seasons as I have, I now understand what my poor mother went through. And I have such respect for mothers everywhere. And now I get why the emotional manipulation is so important to them, because your mom loves you and she wants to be right, and she's going to act first and apologize later to keep you safe. Okay. What a blast it's been, but thank God I get to, you know, leave it at the end of the day and not really be worrying that much. You know what I mean? Yes. I don't know how moms do it. I don't know how parents do it, but yeah, it's been the biggest blessing of my life, and like one of the, I mean, I'm just grateful every day for this job.
I mean, I again commend all of you. And also, you know, Caitriona, you were mothering, it was a baby inside of you, like while filming shootout scenes. So it is complex being a mother, especially a mother in this industry as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That was, I mean, I'm sure some of the other women have gone through this, but shooting an entire season while pregnant was, I mean, it was in one way it was amazing, you know, because we were in lockdown. So otherwise I would have been trapped in my apartment and not seen anybody. And it was kind of a nice, safe way to be able to go and like be part of this beautiful community that we have, you know, on set. But yeah, running around, shooting guns, screaming, crying, all of those things, you're just like, I hope this child knows I'm pretending, because otherwise it's gonna be like, what the hell am I being born into? But yeah, we got through it.
Again, sounds like my neighborhood. Go ahead.
Well, and please know I did not forget about you. You pulled off a truly incredible feat here in portraying Mrs. Garrett in both the Facts of Life and Different Strokes episodes for live in front of a studio audience. You know, what are you most proud of about, you know, embodying this character that the great Charlotte Rae played?
Getting through it. I don't know when I've ever been more terrified in my life. So my task was simply, you know, the prayers to Charlotte. Honey, can you let me in here? And tell me what to do. She was pretty generous. So it was just a whole nother way in, you know. And then the first read through, I'm to my right. This is Different Strokes. First day, to my right is Snoop Dogg. So try to stay calm. I just thought, is Snoop Dogg next to me? And then the left is Damon Wayans. What? And Kevin Hart. What's going on? And then John Lithgow. And then you look over, there's Norman Lear. At what point do you not flee the room? You know, it was an extraordinary experience, you know, but I'm very grateful that the character had been established. So I just had to follow the rules and, you know, that was terrific.
Something I love so much about a lot of the work that you all did in these series is that, you know, while the archetypes may be established, you guys are breaking the mold with all of these characters and taking them into new areas and new positions that we don't often get a chance to see on TV. You know, there are roles, you know, Tiffany, for you as Detective Danner. You know, we don't often get to see the women as the detectives, you know, getting a chance to solve these mysteries. You know, what are you most excited about getting a chance to kind of, you know, show a full three-dimensional person, you know, in a role like that, and especially in, you know, the standalone episode for the after party?
Well, I'm excited because it gives me an opportunity to show like different aspects of myself. I love watching, like, you know, NYPD Blue. I remember New York Undercover. I used to watch Chips, and I used to be like, man, why do they don't have enough females on here? Like, and I know from life experience, there are quite a few women detectives. So I like First 48, and like these are like my favorite shows to watch. And I know from my personal experience that they're not all super mean or evil people. They're regular people just like me and you. They just want to get down to the truth. And that's, you know, that's what I'm most excited about, being able to show the truth. That's where I live most of the time, is in the truth. Some people don't appreciate it. I don't care. I'm doing my job. God sent me here to live my truth and to show other people's truths, and that's what I'm here for, and bring joy in the process. And I think a real detective does bring a sense of joy, maybe not to the person that committed the crime, but to the people who have been victimized by the crime, you know, and getting that vindication. And if you can do it in a joyful way, I think that's amazing. It's already a bad situation when it's a crime that's happened. So it's already a lot of hurt going on. So if you can help with the healing, I'm a firm believer, if you can't laugh at something, you'll never heal from it. If you can't find the funny in it, you'll never heal. So that's why, like, I've been through a lot of hurt personally. And so I'm always trying to find the healing.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to pitch this question also over to you, Rosamund, and in that, you know, Moraine, a guide is normally, you know, in fantasy books, a man, not a woman. So this is another character in which, you know, getting a chance to break the mold, do something totally new. You know, what about that intrigued you? I know you kind of touched on this a bit.
I read the script and I thought, well, you know, this is Gandalf, really, but she's a woman.
Yeah.
She's appealing. I think you know, the guide has got to have a mystery, and I like characters where you don't know where you stand with them. And I think it's important, you know, characters can be admired but not liked, or, you know, can be fun to watch and not liked, and yet what she can do is admirable. But I think I'm always pushing the writers to, you know, I ask them for stuff where, you know, you'll feel ambivalent about what she says, especially now we've just finished season 2. Because I think anyone with a cause, and Moraine has a cause, you know, you've got to see a bit of the zealot in them. that's where the interest lies, when you can see someone committed so wholeheartedly to something that you can admire the commitment and the conviction, but also it's on the edge. That's where things lie that are interesting to me. So I think she starts off like a kind of Gandalf character, and then maybe becomes more ambivalent. You have a more ambivalent view of her than you would of Gandalf, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing that Robert Jordan wrote this in the 90s, I think. It's very interesting that he wrote this work that puts women so strongly at the center of it. He was obviously trying to work through a lot, and I'm grateful for it.
Well, can we also talk about your role as a producer? We've got a bunch of producers on the panel as well. Wendi, Caitriona, you also, are active behind the scenes. What has been the kind of greatest and this is to all of you, what has been the greatest achievement in terms of being able to shape these characters and to shape the narrative that these shows bring forward? Rosamund, I'll start with you and pitch over to Caitriona and Wendi next.
As producer, you mean? Well,
yeah.
I think it's really nice for the cast. We've got a really young cast, and I think it's really nice for them to feel that there's a voice on the producing side who gets where they're coming from, and I remember being 22 on a set and everybody thinking that I was very put together and seemed very confident, and I wasn't at all. And I keep reminding myself that these, young, particularly the girls, but the boys too, they seem so cool and together. And I know from the experience that they won't feel like that inside all the time. And so I make a point of checking in and finding them and finding out what's worrying them. And there always is something, always, or they feel that they're not getting some attention, or they feel that they're not getting enough support.
They're actors.
Yeah, and I think it's really, that's really nice. And I mean, there've been other things like, being involved with some casting on a personal level, from a career in this business. And then, I see great actresses come in for parts, and I'm really excited to see a tape. And it's just so clear. You're like, oh, you're just not the character. And I know that's what people have told all of us all our lives. You're not right. And it's so clear, and it's just so, you can do a brilliant audition and you're just not the character. I think that's really nice to be able to share with other actors that we've all heard, all our lives. And yeah, so that side.
Yeah, it's real feedback, but coming from a good place.
Yes, it's simple. It's the fact that you can't make it better because there's something essential that's not there, or whatever. So, then you find other roles. And I think that, the Wheel of Time has 3,000 characters in the book. So, very often somebody who does something brilliant in an audition who's not right for this, they'll find a part later on. There's so
How
many
about the wonderful times when we haven't been right, but someone gave us a chance anyway, and we steered the course differently, and wasn't it great?
Mm-hmm.
That's where the fun kind of explodes, doesn't it?
Hallelujah, girl, preach.
Wendi, what about for you and your kind of producing journey? What is something that you're particularly proud of or have learned getting a chance to be behind the scenes too?
To Rosamund's point, I like to weigh in on the casting, and I like to make sure that when people come to the set, it's the best set they've ever been on.
So nice.
And because, we've given a lot of people their first jobs, like some under fives or day players or stuff like that. And I know how awful it is to be the new person on set. It's like, when you're an actor, you have your first day of school over and over and over again. And I never want anyone to come to the set and feel terrified all day. I want them to feel welcome. I want them to feel part of the family. And I feel like every one of our actors and every one of our crew members has been really good about welcoming people like that. And to me, when I hear people say that they've had a good time and that we have one of the happiest sets in television, and that's just something I made up. But, it's.
But we will be putting it on a billboard.
Like to spread. But no, it's one of the biggest compliments that you can hear. It's like, okay, good. you know, made someone feel secure, and I love that.
Yeah. Caitriona, what about for you?
A little bit of, you know, of what everyone said already. I mean, I think setting the tone is super important. Being that advocate for everyone else. You know, I think when we have production meetings up until the point where Sam and I became producers, every single department was represented except for actors. And I think it's always been such a, I mean, that to me has been crazy because we're a department and, you know, it's such a collaborative experience, everybody. And for some reason, I think productions have this fear of giving actors information or telling them stuff because they think they can't handle it. And, you know, to me, I find it the exact opposite. I think when you understand why productions make decisions, you know, actors generally, it releases so much anxiety because the anxiety is brought by not knowing anything and having these like decisions sort of thrown on you at last minute. But I think, you know, one of the most important things is that kind of having the seat at the table when scripts are being developed earlier on. I think that's, you know, one of the most important things, and where I've just loved this process is being able to kind of sit with the writers and talk about your character very early on. And, you know, we had one of the episodes, episode 7 this season, where Claire is having a lot of PTSD. She's been self-medicating. And, you know, I worked super close with the writers very early on about just finding the right way to express her innermost thoughts. And it was so funny because the writer had this whole other idea of what Claire's deepest, darkest fears were. And I was like, but that's not what she thinks about herself. So, you know, it's been able to sort of have those conversations early on. And you know, I think it's such a, yeah, it's been such a great thing that we've had that sort of access and being able to put that input in as well.
And Ray, you stepped behind the camera this season, took the reins in a different way, directing one of the episodes of this final season, episode 4. You know, and was this the first time that a cast member directed one of the episodes?
Yeah, in Breaking Bad, Bryan Cranston directed, but in Better Call Saul, yes. And then last night's was Giancarlo Esposito. And we have had a lot of writers direct and some producers, but on our show. But I was the first cast member.
Congratulations!
Well, exactly.
Thank you.
I mean, give a little bit of a round of applause here, but you know, in taking that reign, in taking those reins, and you know, bringing your vision to Better Call Saul, you know, what are you most proud of in that achievement? You know, what was it that you wanted to show through your lens about this show?
It's not unlike what Anne was saying about stepping into the Mrs. Garrett role. If you are a guest director, even on a show that you're on, there is an architecture built that you need to speak to already. There is a visual vocabulary on Better Call Saul, and a style and a tone. But then they do want you, like stepping into a role that's been done before, they do want you to also shine and bring some uniqueness of your own vision and point of view. You know, it was incredible when I wasn't pooping my pants, basically. It was like super scary.
Can imagine.
And then awesome in between. But it's hard. It's not even first day of shooting, it's first day of like a tech scout when, you know, 100 people that are at the top of their game are staring at you and asking, like, do you know which direction are you gonna shoot so we know where to put the trucks? And you're like, oh, I don't know. But you know, it's also thrilling to have like any story thing you can think of, and our show deals in a lot of subtext and a lot of what's not said. That is always thrilling for me to play. Rosamund, I also get to play a character that is hard to pin down, often inscrutable, and my showrunners released me from likable in my first season. They said, don't ever worry about it. Don't ever smile at the end of some argument just to make sure everyone's comfortable. Not your problem. And I felt that way when I was directing as well. It was, I was supported and respected and given every tool you could possibly want as a guest director. I mean, I had 300 people that they weren't going to let me fail no matter what. And that's an amazing thing to feel. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations.
To kind of
Thank you.
To kind of pitch off of what you were just saying about, you know, the way that as an actor, you were kind of released from needing to be likable. I'm curious how these roles have changed you all as actors in terms of, you know, what type of roles you want to play next, in terms of, you know, how you approach the craft. You know, I'm curious, especially, you know, for those of you who've played these roles for some time, at a certain point, you know, there's part of it that almost becomes part of you. So Christina, I'm going to start with you. You know, how did Dr. Lim kind of change? Yeah, how did she change you?
Well, she doesn't feel the need to smile after an argument, and I think I'm better at being that way now too. Do you know? I mean, she's just so much more unapologetic. And so in the last night was our season finale for season 5. So for 4.5 seasons now, I've gotten to be this, I mean, the word strong is overused, but I'm going to use it here because that's what she is. Yeah, just I think it's more sort of standing firmly and being unapologetic about the things that she does, the decisions that she makes, and I want to move into comedy. I know you didn't ask.
Oh, you do?
Come talk to us, Christina.
So I'm coming over to After Party and the Goldbergs. Okay.
Let's do it.
Welcome.
I'm just going to tell you, I tried, Tiffany, and I got real close to season 2. I didn't get it, but just
You should have called me. I would have made him do it.
I know.
That just means you get to come in for season 3.
Okay.
I got you on season 3.
Listen, we're just here manifesting more for y'all. That is the point here. We want these shows to keep going and going and going. And also, I understand they just stabbed you, Christina. So I would also be like, I'm going to do comedy now.
Right. I can't reveal whether I make it or not. I'm just laying on the floor bleeding for the next 4 months, potentially. But
over to Handmaid's Tale anytime you like, hon.
Thank you. I've also tried there. I would love to work with you over there, but alas.
No comedy going on here, hon.
No, that's okay though.
Hey, I keep asking, hey, can you get me on Handmaid's Tale? I text Elizabeth, everything. Nothing. Crickets.
How do you know? All right.
They're not interested in us.
We'll take care of business. No problems. That was a great thing about, not to step in where I haven't been asked,
Please.
About Edna Garrett. Comedy, just, I'm not saying that I was particularly funny, but people around me were funny. And it was kind of great. Yeah, I just thought, oh, I see. Yeah, this is a different situation.
Another muscle.
But fun, right? And it was
Totally
scary,
fun,
but fun.
Hello, I want to do it. Not that I don't want to do Handmaids. The other thing too is the innocence of that show and the time it came out.
Yeah.
There was something very simple and peaceful about it. Where, you know, just basic human values.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, a relationship with the truth. Not being distracted every 3rd second with a thing in your hand. It was so peaceful and innocent. I love that. Actually.
Anybody else have things that kind of learned or taught them or grew, you know, from these roles? Wendi, I'm going to go to you.
Well, any little smidgen of vanity that I had left, I don't have anymore. So, which is a good thing, which is
That's hilarious.
absolutely amazing. And for me, you know, I'm always looking for my Tony Soprano role, you know, or my Walter White.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah. But
I mean, you could cast.
I'm lucky
right
anybody pays attention to me.
Stop your nonsense this minute.
We see you.
I would watch anything Wendi would do. Absolutely
Oh,
anything.
You are a lamb.
Everybody on the show, let's just do a show. All of us.
Exactly.
All of us.
You know what, you guys? I have a trunk full of costumes. If we all meet in the park, we can get this
You know what I
going.
love about women getting the roles, the work, the writing, the directing? We were born for it. Let's just get real. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, how do we do it?
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
It's just in us. Always has been, always will be. So, you know, I don't know where that thought goes, but
No, listen, we have everybody. We have all the tools we need right here on this Zoom. We have directors, we have producers, we have obviously you wonderful actors. Let's go shoot this right now. Wendy said she has a costume.
I'll write some
come
stuff for us. I'll make us a dramedy, guys.
oh, do, honey.
But where you can travel in time and shoot fireballs.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Which, by the way, I love fantasy. Like, I love it.
Me too.
I know it's like
Loads of
Same.
amazing female characters on the Wheel of Time, and there's just more and more.
there you go.
Yeah.
Also,
Rosamund, don't think
over
we
there
didn't
now.
hear you. We heard you say there was 3,000 roles in it.
Yeah,
We
no,
heard
believe me,
that.
my ears.
We're
were like,
coming for
what?
that ass, Rosamund. We coming
We all
for
heard
that.
that.
We all want those side
Season
jobs.
2, but this is a troop for season 3.
But there's just the variety of women, I think, which don't actually come into book 1, but our showrunner wanted, it's such an integral part of the Wheel of Time, he wanted to put it in, you know, in episode 6 of season 1, where you go into this place where all the Aes Sedai, the women with the power, train. You know, all variety of women, all ages, every type of strong and power looks very different for every woman. Some of them seem, you know, terribly homely and not, you know, our conventional concept of power. And it's also good to kind of blast those prejudices apart too. You know, that when you do have what that strength looks is so many different colors and shapes and energies and all that. And the actual use of the power. I mean, I think one of the things is.
But I like to come in. I come in as a character that controls people's happiness and can take away their happiness. I can give it to you or I can take it away. Nothing brings you joy no more.
What would
And
the
that's
world
worse
be
than
like
going to
if
jail.
women were in charge?
Something called compulsion. And maybe it's that your character would be strong in compulsion, compelling people to do what you want them to do. I don't know.
No. Just when they come around me, they could be happy. I bring happiness. But if they mess up on something, I take all that away. Nothing brings them joy. Nothing feels good. That sounds like a wife.
Well, ladies, now that we have plans for all of the new seasons of your show, quite frankly, you know, Ray, I know Better Call Saul is ending, but we're just going to have to do a spinoff with Kim so we can continue to have more of her as well. But thank you guys all so much for bringing your unique perspectives to these parts and to this conversation. It's so fun to get women together, even though it's unfortunately virtually, to talk about, you know, being amazing on screen. So thank you guys all for joining us.
Wow.
Thank you, the audience, for listening.
Much respect for all of you, honestly.
Same. This is
Love you, ladies.
I'm sending joy to all of you and happiness for the rest of the week.
I
receive it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Coming
you,
from my
Andrew.
heart.
So what happens if I have a bad day? Have you done something to me, Tiffany?
Yes, pretty much. It's my fault.
She'll own that. Everyone be safe.
Thank you.
Lovely to see you all.
Stay safe, stay healthy, guys.
Bye, you guys.
Thank you.
Hope I can see you in person at some point.
Same.
That would be lovely.
I'm guest starring on your show, Wendy. I'll see you later.
All right, I'll see you in the wardrobe trailer.